So if you're over 40, maybe you've noticed it, feeling tired all the time, maybe some brain fog, not really waking up refreshed. Well, most of us just chalk that up to, getting older. But what if it isn't? Our sources today are making a pretty bold claim.
Yeah, they really are. They're basically saying these things, that fatigue, poor sleep, memory issues might not be normal aging at all.
Right. Instead, they call it chronic toxicity accumulation. Sounds serious.
It does. And the argument is that this whole process, this path of poisoning, as they term it, doesn't start when you're 40 or 50. It starts way earlier.
Like from birth.
Essentially, yes.
Yeah.
From our very first breath. So in this deep dive, we really want to unpack that. Look at the four main ways toxins supposedly get in, how they build up.
And the symptoms, right. The signs that your body's hit this saturation point.
Exactly. We need to look at that checklist.
Okay, let's get into it. Because the underlying idea here is huge. It's saying this exposure isn't something you can avoid easily. It's constant, systemic.
That's the core premise. Every breath, every meal, it's introducing these tiny amounts of toxins. Not enough to make you sick immediately, obviously.
But they add up.
Precisely. Over decades, your body's trying to manage it constantly. But eventually, the concentration hits a certain level, that saturation point we mentioned.
And that's when things start to go wrong. Not just wear and tear, but actual system failure.
That's the argument. Functional failure.
Yeah.
Not necessarily permanent damage yet, but systems struggling.
Okay. So before we talk about what goes wrong, let's look at how these things are getting in. The sources focus on four major sources. Constant exposure points.
Right. And they're quite emphatic about the number one source. It's maybe not what most people focus on.
Which is?
Airborne toxins, the air we breathe.
Wow, okay. So less about diet, more about environment.
That's a big part of their focus, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not just like thick, visible smog. They list things like industrial exhaust, car fumes, sure.
Usual suspects.
But also plasticizers, perfumes, even just general smoke. You talk about acids, alkali, and these really, really tiny particles, ultrafine particles.
How small are we talking?
They specifically mention PM 0.1 and below.
PM 0.1. I know PM 2.5 is already tiny.
Exactly. PM 0.1 is 25 times smaller than that.
Yeah.
So small, they basically bypass all your body's natural filters in the airways.
You mean like nose hairs, mucus, that stuff?
Yeah. All the initial defenses, these particles go straight through the air sacs in your lungs, the alveoli.
And right into the blood.
Right into the bloodstream.
Yeah.
That direct access makes it, in their view, the most significant source of toxins getting deep into your system.
But hang on, doesn't our body have, detox systems, liver, kidneys? Are they saying those are just overwhelmed?
Kind of both. Overwhelmed by the sheer volume, yes, but also potentially compromised by the toxic buildup itself, which can slow things down.
Okay, so air is number one. What's next?
The second major source is probably more familiar, food and water toxins.
Ah, right. Pesticides, fertilizers.
Yep. Agricultural residues are on the list, but also heavy metals, things like lead, cadmium, mercury,
Nasty stuff.
and contaminants and water chlorine, fluoride, maybe even microbial toxins, depending on the source. Now, unlike the airborne ones,
These need processing.
right, they don't go straight into the blood quite the same way. They tend to build up over the long term in the filtering organs.
Liver, kidneys?
Liver, kidneys, intestines, causing stress there, creating these sort of deep deposits.
Got it. Okay, that's two. What's the third gateway?
Number 3 is dermal absorption through the skin.
Really? I always thought skin was a pretty good barrier.
It is, against bigger things like bacteria. But certain chemicals, especially fat-soluble ones or very small molecules, they can get through.
Like from what?
The sources point to everyday things: cosmetics, cleaning products, hair dyes, even sunscreens.
Wow.
And also, think about things we wear. Toxic molecules leaching from metal jewelry or plastic items that are in constant contact with your skin.
Huh. Never thought about that.
They get absorbed through pores, sweat glands, enter the circulation, and can end up stored, often in fatty tissues, for a long time.
Dormant, almost.
Sort of, yeah.
Yeah.
Waiting, potentially. Okay, so the last one is a bit different. Drugs and modern chemicals.
So this isn't just external stuff coming in.
Not entirely. Part of this category is what they call secondary toxins. These are byproducts left over after your body metabolizes long-term medications.
The residues from processing drugs.
Exactly. But there's also an environmental piece here, too. VOCs, volatile organic compounds.
Right. The stuff that off-gases from new furniture, paint, plastics.
Yep. Building materials, all that. If your body can't get rid of these effectively,
They settle somewhere.
they settle deep in organ tissues, even in the gaps between cells, according to the sources.
Okay, that is a lot. 4 continuous streams of contaminants. Air, food, skin, chemicals, drugs. It's kind of overwhelming to think about.
It is. The sheer volume they're suggesting is staggering.
So we know how they get in. Now, how do they actually cause the problems? What's the mechanism once they're inside?
Well, the sources break it down into a pretty straightforward 3-step process. It helps visualize it.
Okay, step 1.
Step 1, entry into blood. Doesn't matter which of the 4 pathways we just talked about, respiration, ingestion, absorption, drug residues, ultimately, they all feed toxins into your circulation.
So the blood becomes the delivery system.
Exactly, which leads to step 2, distribution. The blood just carries these things everywhere, every organ, every tissue, right down to the cellular level.
Okay, makes sense. And the final step, the one that triggers the symptoms.
That's step 3, fixed deposition, or as they call it, saturation. Basically, the toxins find a place to stick.
Like binding to cells.
Either binding with cells or just getting lodged in the structure of the organ tissue itself.
Mm-hmm.
And the concentration just keeps rising, slowly, steadily, over years. Until it hits that critical threshold. That's the saturation point. The system is full. And that is the moment, they argue, that functional failure starts. It's the tipping point.
Right. And this brings us back to that central argument. The symptoms people feel in their 40s, 50s, 60s. It's not just getting old.
It's the alarm bell.
Yeah, the body basically screaming that its systems are overloaded. But crucially, before the damage becomes permanent, irreversible.
Exactly. And this is where the source material gets really practical almost. It gives this detailed checklist. It shows how this overload affects pretty much every system simultaneously.
Let's go through some of that. It starts with the things people often blame on stress, right? The nervous and mental system stuff.
Yeah, and what they call the general state. So things like trouble concentrating, memory slipping, feeling irritable, anxious, or maybe depressed.
Classic burnout symptoms.
Right. Plus, that persistent low energy, feeling like you just can't recover, even if you sleep for hours. And they specifically mention waking up feeling groggy, that morning blurriness.
So that feeling isn't just needing coffee, it's potentially a sign of toxic overload.
That's what they're suggesting. The body is using up so much energy just trying to manage the toxic load, there's none left for proper cognitive function or deep rest and repair.
Wow. Okay. What about physical systems, like our breathing, our internal regulation?
Well, the respiratory system often shows signs. Things like always having phlegm in your throat, maybe your trachea feels sensitive, allergic reactions to, stuffy nose, sneezing fits.
Things you might just put down to allergies.
Sure. And chest tightness.
Yeah.
They also link this to problems with regulating your body's response to the environment, feeling overly sensitive to heat or cold or humidity.
Interesting. And metabolism, hormones.
Big impact there, according to the sources.
Okay.
In the metabolic and endocrine systems, you see instability. Blood sugar all over the place, blood pressure creeping up, often the early signs of what gets called the 3 highs.
High blood sugar, high blood pressure, high lipids.
Right. And hormonal chaos, too. For women, maybe early menopause or really irregular periods. For men, often general low function, feeling lethargic.
It sounds like the body's just struggling to maintain balance anywhere.
That's the picture they paint.
Yeah.
And then there's the pain, the musculoskeletal system.
Oh, yeah, the aches and pains everyone complains about.
But maybe it's not just wear and tear. They list specific things. Feeling really stiff when you wake up, though it might ease a bit as you move. Chronic pain, especially deep in the lower back, or that constant stiff neck and shoulders. And importantly, neurological sensations.
Like what?
Numbness in the fingers, or maybe a burning or tingling feeling in your feet. That suggests nerves are directly affected by this buildup.
That's quite specific. And what about digestion? That seems like a common area for problems as people age.
Definitely. The digestive and excretory system issues are major flags. Often it's alternating problems, bloating, then maybe diarrhea, then constipation.
Back and forth.
Yeah, it shows that the system is under stress, chaotic. Feeling wiped out after eating is another sign they list, along with strong stool odor. And there's one specific example they mention about reversal: increased urination at night. Apparently, the author found this symptom cleared up just by stopping the toxin accumulation.
So stopping the input allowed the system to recover that function.
Seems to be the implication.
This whole checklist, it paints a picture of a body-wide breakdown. And the claim is, this isn't age, it's overload.
That's the core message. These are warning signs. The body is telling you, hey, the load is too heavy. If you don't listen, if the accumulation continues,
That's when the real damage starts.
That's when you move from functional failure systems not working right
Yeah.
to actual destruction of cells and organ structures, the irreversible organ damage phase.
Okay. Which leads us to maybe the most challenging part of this whole thing. The sources directly question a really common medical assumption.
Yeah, this is where they push back quite hard. It's the assumption that our bodies just naturally have enough detox capacity to handle.
Well, everything modern life throws at us.
We tend to believe our liver and kidneys are miracle workers. Right. We do. But the argument here is, once these toxins get deep inside into the blood, the cells, fat tissues, muscles, even nerve structures, they're not just simple external things anymore.
You can't just flush them out easily.
Right. They're not easily expelled through sweat or urine like we often think. They've become integrated.
Is that why they use that analogy, the poison in soup one?
Exactly. It's a powerful image. The poison isn't just floating on top where you can skim it off.
It's dissolved, mixed in completely.
It's permeated everything, every cell, every tissue. They call it a deep fusion, an internal contamination that's almost impossible to separate. It's part of the soup now.
Okay, that explains a lot. Because many people do try things when they feel unwell in middle age, right? They do cleanses, fasts, drink tons of water, exercise like crazy.
All the standard advice.
But often, the deep fatigue or the brain fog, it doesn't really go away. And this integrated pollution idea would explain why. You're trying to clean the soup, but the poison is baked in.
Precisely. You're not dealing with a simple blockage you can clear. You're dealing with toxicity that's become part of your body's structure, essentially.
So, if you can't just flush it out, what's the answer then, according to these sources? If true healing isn't about supplements or fasting.
Their philosophy is actually quite simple, conceptually at least. It's not about masking the symptoms with drugs, suppressing the alarm bells.
Yeah.
It's about stopping the inflow, turning off the tap, stop the toxins from entering in the first place.
So the body gets a chance to catch up.
Exactly. Give the body's own, now compromised, systems the breathing room they need to slowly, gradually deal with the existing load. And their focus is crystal clear on where to start.
Which is?
Managing the air we breathe and the environment we live in. Because air, being the primary source, according to them, is the most critical intervention point.
That really shifts the focus. Okay, so let's recap this deep dive. We started with this challenging idea. Huh? Maybe that decline after 40 isn't just aging, it's chronic toxicity.
Yep. We looked at the 4 main ways toxins get in: air, food, water, skin, and chemicals, drugs.
We saw how they accumulate, leading to this saturation point, turning the body into that poison soup.
And we walked through that pretty extensive checklist of symptoms: the fatigue, fog, pain, system imbalances that signal functional failure is happening now.
The body's warning system, basically, before permanent damage sets in.
Absolutely. Plenty of warning. These aren't just things you have to accept. They're signals that the environmental burden has become too high for your system to handle effectively.
So thinking about that primary source, the airborne toxins, those invisible PM0.1 particles, the VOCs, and knowing the author behind this material actually developed air treatment technology, it leads to a pretty direct final thought for you, the listener.
Yeah.
It's not about the next diet craze or the latest supplement. The question becomes, if the biggest, most constant threat to how your body functions is coming through the air, the invisible stuff you breathe all day, every day, how much real attention are you paying to the quality of that environment? You know, the place where you likely spend 90% of your time, your home, your office.
Right.
Because if the source material has it right, maybe that's where genuine detoxification, the real healing process, actually has to start.
The Air 6 Free Maze Purifier is the world's only device that truly filters toxic airborne particulates and aerosols. Its core design returns the duty of air cleaning to machines, so people no longer act as living filters. Air 6 Free means dust-free, germ-free, toxin-free, smoke-free, odor-free, and heavy metal-free. 5 purification steps. Step 1: Ionization zone. Dual electrostatic pre-filters. Captures dust, pollen, plastic, microparticles, VOCs, and toxic gases. Step 2: Secondary ionization stage. Neutralizes pathogens and toxins. Charges all remaining particles and aerosols negative. Prepares them for final capture. Step 3: Electrostatic collection maze box. The sacrificial black box permanently locks away ultrafine pollutants. Aerosol droplets lose water in airflow. Residual toxins deposit onto positive plates. Solidly plated, irreversibly fixed. Step 4 maze effect. Forces airflow through repeated sharp turns. Nanotoxins collide with surfaces and are completely absorbed. Step 5 output pure toxin-free pure air. System delivers the purest air on Earth. Dust-free, germ-free, toxin-free. Smoke-free, odor-free, heavy metal-free. Conclusion. This is more than a filter. It is the one true key to unlocking humanity's lifespan shackles.